Welcome to PNW Prop Stars, the only Seahawks only gambling show in the multiverse. I'm your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by two distinguished gentlemen. He is back. He is down there center square. If this was a square, more of a bottom triangle, but it is the Princetonian of parlays, Mr. Wilson Kahn. Hey, it's been an off season for you too. Now a senior. Look, Brandon, they grow up so fast, don't they? A senior on the East Coast in Princeton. Wilson, how you doing, bud?
I'm good. It was a late night last night, but I'm gonna push through and of course get back to my winning ways this season after Adam snatched the crown last year.
That is correct. Adam did take the crown last year. He's not here to celebrate that, so we're raising a banner for Adam. But he had a life thingy where he just can't be here. So in his stead is, of course, Mr. Brandon Schultz. Brandon, how are you doing today in Montana, my friend?
I am well. We need to raise this banner for Adam effectively and efficiently and well enough to where I think he feels satisfied as the champion, because I don't know if you heard, Wilson, but Adam was very, I don't know, he felt as if you didn't show enough appreciation over these last few months for just or honoring him enough in his victory from the previous year.
Oh, yeah. I'll think about that.
Let that one marinate, right? To process that, right? And for the folks that are joining us live, because we are live, thank you very much for being out there. We love it. We know it's Saturday morning, maybe quite early in your part of the world, or late. I don't know where you live. But PNW Prop Stars is just one of a litany of shows that are part of the Seahawkers Podcast Network. Of course, every single thing we do, you can find it out on YouTube, youtube.com/Seahawkers Podcast. The likes, the subscribes, they mean a ton. And hit that bell, because sometimes, Brandon, sometimes you bring in YouTube superstars and go live and have some fun. Who'd you have recently on the pod?
Yeah, Brandon Perna of That's Good Sports joined us on Friday. And just a fun conversation where we got to reveal the truth of the Let's Ride curse, where it came from, and how he can be maybe happy that Russell Wilson is gone, and hopefully the curse is gone with it for his sake. I mean, I could care less. I'd be fine if the Broncos continue to be cursed. That's just kind of the grudge that I hold from them being in the AFC West.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, listen, I grew up on the East Coast, and I got to see one game a year as a kid, and it was usually Elway kicking our butts. And for that they could perpetually be in the curse mode for me. And then they put out really terrible uniforms. Like, those are new. They're putrid. So, like, bad job there. So, all the vibes are on our side coming in. Wilson, real quick, dude, how was the summertime for you? What does a 21-year-old do? Did you traverse the globe? How was your summer, man?
I was down in LA, on home of the Rams, unfortunately. But yeah, it was a nice summer. Obviously beautiful weather down there. And I got to see SoFi Stadium,
nice.
Which, if you haven't had the chance to get there, I would highly recommend. I've never been anywhere like that. It's absolutely insane. The video board and everything in there. I was there for a soccer match, but obviously not a Seahawks game, but would hope to go back there in the future for that purpose. Yeah. Definitely.
Very cool. A good part of LA, the new SoFi Stadium, for sure. The rest of it but the weather's great. I've been there with the weather down at Venice Beach, not pumping iron as you probably think I was, but just enjoying some rooftop cocktails a couple of years ago. And it was pretty awesome. All right. So for those that do not know what PNW Prop Stars is, maybe your first time here, that's cool. It is the only Seahawks only gambling show in the multiverse, like we said. And we have a particular formula, a thing we do. And what it is 4 rounds of betting. Picture this. You got $31 and pop quiz, Wilson. Why is it $31? What's the meaning?
It's to honor the now former Seahawk, DJ Dallas. Of course.
Brandon, can you help the young lad out? He's clearly hungover.
No, there is a more legendary Seahawk who wore the number 31, and that is Mr. Cam Chancellor.
Bam, bam, Cam. So you get $31, 4 rounds. Got to do 3 bets at $10 a piece. Bet 1, bet 2, bet 3. You could bet whatever the heck you want, whatever you want in those 3 bets. Bet 4, we call the Fail Mary. I don't think that needs explaining if you're watching this live on a Saturday morning. That's a $1 bet, but it must be plus 1,200 or longer odds, meaning you bet $1 to win at least $12 or more. So, long odds, just like the Fail Mary, which was a completely cromulent and very, very well thrown ball and catch for sure. All right, so we're going to get going. I goofed. I actually put Wilson back in the box here. I forgot. Hey, Adam, I guess a little bit of punishment for not showing up for week 1, dude. So week 1, bet 1. Wilson, you are on the tee box. Where are you taking us and why are you going there?
Well, I'm going straight to the workhorse for the Seahawks, Kenneth Walker, K9. I'm taking him to go over 80 rushing yards, I believe. 70, 80. Yeah.
80.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can tell I'm a little bit hazy here. I have it at 80 and it's plus 170. My reasoning here is just that I think the Seahawks can and should attack the ground against the Broncos. It's going to be more effective than the air. Obviously, we don't know what their plan is with Surtain, how he's going to track our receivers or if he'll just stay on one side. But I think the ground game is a safer bet in this matchup. And at 80 plus, I felt like the odds were fairly generous. I mean, it's obviously an above average game for him, but still within the realm of possibility for sure.
And at plus 170, I won't even say the tagline just yet, but it is getting a little hot. It's getting a little hot. We'll save the tagline for later. Brandon, 3 down back this year? Is K9 hitting this 80 over mark? What do you think week 1?
Man, I would be nervous with this new offense going 80 plus, like taking the extra over the base bet with K9. But I like it because I want it and I hope it hits personally.
He likes it. He wants more of it. Of course. Yeah. We talked about this a lot in the offseason that Grubb has been quite intentional talking about K9 as a 3 down back. Now the offensive line is still a huge, that and the linebackers, right? It's like, we don't know what we're going to see. We think it'll be Connor Williams. Looks like Bradford's going to get the start at right guard. We just don't know what it's going to look like. And will they be effective in this more zony space creating offense that Grubb likes to run? And we shall see. But I do appreciate that you got out of the gate strong and went for a plus 170 right away. And for those at home, you bet $10 to win $17 with a bet like that, in case you're not familiar with the betting world. All right, Adam, Brandon, you are here for Adam. His bet is up. What do you got, dude?
All right, I am going with Adam's bets for this. I don't have my own, so I did coordinate with Adam ahead of time. And Adam's first bet of the day is for the Denver Broncos to have more punts than the Seattle Seahawks. It's a minus 130 bet. And it's, Adam likes to start out of the gate slow, go with something that he can be fairly certain is going to hit. And on something like this, it tells me that, one, we expect the Denver Broncos to punt more than the Seahawks. I feel like that's obvious from what's on the screen. But two, I think it's also predicting that there's not a lot of turnovers, because you can't have a lot of turnovers and then also end up with more punts generally, unless the Seahawks offense is just scoring at a ridiculous pace over the other team. So I think this one, he has a little bit of respect for Bo Nix and his ability to not turn the ball over too much, but also this is looking at the Seahawks not getting to fourth down a whole lot and ending up on the scoring side of the ledger.
Wilson, if Dixon has more punts than whoever that kicks the ball for the Broncos, I might be sad. How about you?
Yeah, I think the only circumstance where that's good is like Brandon was mentioning, that Nix throws 4 interceptions. But I tend to think that he probably won't turn the ball over too much. He's an old quarterback, an old rookie. Frankly, it was about time he got a job. So I think he'll probably be safe with the ball in this game, which makes me think like this is a pretty good bet.
Yeah, and to hey, Adam is the champion, so him getting on the board is a tactic of his, and it's a fun one because you get Denver, you get to talk a little bit about Denver, but it's really about Seattle just dominating the game, which is nice, right? We like that. All right, I'm gonna head on over to mine. I actually forgot what it is. It's not written down, but it is in the slides. Here it is. Here it is. Okay, I'm coming in hot to start as well. You can see it on screen if you're watching on YouTube. I've got Gino. I teased him down to over 200 passing yards, or 200 plus, could be 200 plus passing yards. And then K9 over the number that Vegas gave, 10.5 receiving yards, to get to I'd say a nice plus 122. Nice ring to that number, by the way. 122 feels fluid, feels very good, because that matters. Now, I think Gino, they have him at like 240 or something like that for the game. I forget exactly where it's at. So teased him down quite a bit. And I just think K9 is going to get, I don't know, 3 to 4 receptions in the new Grubb offense. And I don't think he's going to average 2.5 yards per reception. So I like this combo. I think it's safe, yet gives some plus upside. Brandon, what do you think?
I don't understand why you would tease Geno down, though. Why go so far to 200? Was there no option between 200 and 240?
There was a 225. They do those in like 25 increments, right?
Yeah.
So then at 225, I think the bet sprung up to like a plus 160 area.
Yeah,
And
I like that a little more.
it's all good, but let me give you the reason why. So I want to give the stats, the odds and the data why. There's a possibility in this game that Seattle is like in control and they are pound the rock and just long drives. And it wouldn't shock me if it's like Geno ends up with, let's say, I don't know, 18 for 22, 212 yards and 2 touchdowns. And it's super, super efficient. That's possible. So that's the why behind it, Brandon.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. I'll buy that.
All right. Hey, pass that first test. Okay. So that's bet number 1. If you were listening earlier, we just roll on to bet number 2, but we rotate, of course, who's going to be at the tee box. Now it is Adam's bet, which means Brandon's back up. Who do you got for your second down bet, Brandon?
On second down, I am going with our wide receiver, and I see Corey in the chat teasing JSN a little bit too. It's a JSN bet going at 50 plus receiving yards at a plus 110. I think JSN's going to have a good day, and at 50 yards, yeah, I mean, he could probably hit that on 2 catches, but probably at least 3 gets him there relatively easy. I think in this new Grubb offense that he's going to be used downfield a lot more. I would not be making this bet based off of, if Shane Waldron were the OC again, and what we saw from him last year. But from what we saw in the preseason and how JSN was used, 50 plus, this seems like a no-brainer.
Well, let's raise our hands if we own a JSN throwback jersey. Okay, Wilson, you're the one. What do you think of this bet, dude?
Love it. All over it. I think it's close to a lock, to be honest.
And I think they had him at like 43, I think is the line that I saw on FanDuel or DraftKings, something like that. To me, it's very similar to why I like the K9 at 10.5. And, Brandon, what you're saying for Adam's sake, very similarly, where I just think it's going to be, wait, no. You're kind of you're projecting what you saw last year onto this year. And you're not taking, which I get, but you're not taking into account that JSN might be the dude out there when it's just 2 wide receivers. And it's very clear that Grubb is going to use JSN differently and not just.
And here's the other thing about it is that, there's one receiver on the injury report. It is Tyler Lockett. And so if he sees a limited amount of snaps, that could mean, and if Surtain is covering DK Metcalf, then I feel like 50 could end up seeming like a low number after this game's over.
Absolutely could. One of the things I keep hearing about, though, that I kind of want to call out as like nonsense is what's Riley's last name? The cornerback from Iowa that's now in Denver. Moss?
Yes.
Right? I think it's Moss. 3rd round draft pick from Iowa. And people just like, well, they're going to pick on the white cornerback. And they like call it out so explicitly. Like, dude, this guy is drafted third round from Iowa. And he's good. He's damn good. Now he might get burnt by NFL guys. We'll see. But just this assumption. Well,
way to come to the defense of a Denver Bronco, Clinton.
Yeah, what's up with that, man?
What are you doing?
The point being is we're still gonna have to earn it against that dude. He is a good corner. And cool. Let's see what the rookie can do with the second-year guy in Grubb's offense. I hope that JSN goes for a bajillion yards. All right, let me get to my second bet. And again, I don't have it written down, so I'm just throwing on there here. Oh, yeah, there we go. That's right. I really like the JSN vibes and times as well. So what's on screen here is JSN with a first drive reception at plus 115. Now that for me, the risk is a 3 and out. That can happen. And you punt the ball away and poof, there goes my $10. With that, I am very, very aligned with the thought that Grubb is going to intentionally get JSN going early. I just think that's going to be the case. And to also see if he is getting that matchup versus a rookie cornerback, that they're going to test that. And see if they can get some easy stuff also to get Geno going. So I think the combination of starting Geno hot, JSN is who he is, and then a rookie cornerback that might be on JSN. We'll see where he's lining up. I like the idea of a target or two going his way in the first drive and JSN coming down with at least one of them. So Wilson, you like the first part of 50 plus. Do you like JSN catching the ball in that first drive?
Yeah, I'm on board here. I wish I had seen this one. I probably would have taken it, but yeah, I'll hide my jealousy for the rest of the
show. No worries. All right, Brandon, does this give you the fizz? Are you excited to see JSN, I don't know, 2nd and 4, 8-yard dig, boom, move the chains, and I'm texting you guys about my winnings?
Well, and the reason why I like this one is for the reasons I mentioned on the last bet, is that with Tyler being on the injury report, with Surtain lined up across DK, then if you're taking advantage of matchups, then JSN getting a catch on the first drive, I think could make a lot of sense.
Very nice. And we got folks chiming in live, and they seem to like it as well. So we appreciate the live commentary. Certainly drop the comments now, drop the comments after the show is live on YouTube. Very much helps to drive the algorithm. Okay, so driving things forward, that takes us back to the top, which means we are back. It's still second down, but we are now on to Wilson. Wilson, what do you got, dude?
Well, it's going to look a little weird because the odds for this bet are actually much. I mean, they're negative odds, so it's a little bit more of a conservative bet rather than compared to my first bet. Geez, I'm all over the place. English is my first language, guys. The reason I'm taking this bet, which is under 41.5 points for the game, is because we have a new head coach, we have a brand new offense, and we're going against a rookie quarterback. I can see this definitely being a bit of a rock fight. 41.5 honestly felt high, even if this was a midseason game between these two teams. I just don't see the Broncos scoring very much, and I could see the Seahawks ending up in the low 20s, as was fairly typical last season. So I'm taking the 41.5 here at -110, and again, it's my second down bet, even with the safer odds, just because I feel a little less confident in it than the K9, but I still feel like this is probably going to be a low-scoring game. I know those of us that watched the last preseason game might be thinking, this could be a very high-flying offense, and I think it could be that, but, I mean, these are, sustained first-team reps in game for really the first time with a new offensive coordinator, so there can always be some growing pains.
Yeah, Brandon,
why do you have to sound so negative about this, Wilson? I mean, when we win 36-3, then the under hits and we're fine.
Yeah. That would be my dream scenario. I could see this being like a 23-10, something like that. So a win's a win either way. I don't foresee any loss for the Seahawks here. I'll put it that way.
Nice. And Brandon, I love the spin to the positivity, right? The glass is half full. Who needs a glass anyway? Just give me the darn hose. I like all that. And if we're going to be at 36-3, well then Brandon, just erase those 3 points. So when we do 3 in, 3 out, the recap show, it could be all ins. We can start the party the way it should start the party. All right. So that's a fairly, let's call it placid bet there, kind of simple, but I like how you still, Wilson, you came out of the gate with +170 and you reeled it back and said, you know what? I could see the under hitting 36-0 Seahawks. I like that a lot. We got Sojin chiming in with, he's saying Walker first, second, and third touchdown. I don't know what the odds on that would be, especially the first 3 touchdowns, but the 3+ is probably 2,000 plus category.
Yeah, I actually thought about taking that for my fail Mary. It's 2,800, I think.
There you go. All right, that's pretty good guess. I was around it. All right, so that means we are now at bet number 3, which I believe means it's mine. And again, I don't remember what it was, so let's throw it on screen. All right, I'm all about JSN, boys. I'm all about JSN this week. Let's start with Jaleel. That's Jaleel McLaughlin, if you see it on screen there. I got Jaleel over 11.5 receiving yards for the Broncos, and then JSN, just at his number, over 43.5 receiving yards, gets me to a pretty spicy +240, which I really like because 12 and 12, and that's 24, and away we go. Jaleel McLaughlin will get, I think, between 5 to 7 targets, if not more, with the Sean Payton, Bo Nix, checky down, third down McCatch guy. He is a good back out of the backfield for receiving the ball. So 11.5 to me seems paltry. I think that's smash bot all day, and that's the regular number that Vegas has given it. JSN, we've kind of drained that one already. We all feel he's going over his number. I put two things together that I think are pretty logical, and you pay me more than double my money, I am smashing this one. So Brandon, is the mathing for you, bud?
I hate this bet. This is why would you do this? JSN, after you've already bet JSN to get a catch on the very first drive, it's probably going to go for
44 yards.
Yeah, well, then he gets it right away. And then after that, now you're rooting for the Broncos to unload the ball to Jaleel, and that makes no sense to me. So other than the sense of it that you pointed out, and that here they are checking the ball down to their back. But what?
Let me make it. Hey, Brandon, why do you got to go to negative town, right? Can't you see that Jaron Reed just got his second sack of the day? It's 3rd and 17. They do a give up play to Jaleel and he gets 12 yards and then punt the ball. So they got to punt more. And this hits for me. Don't go to negative town, Brandon. It's 3rd and 17. He picks up 12. Who cares?
On an inconsequential play, I could see how. Then you could. Okay. Thank you for explaining.
Wilson, how'd I do? You're the one I think who's probably going to law school. Did I win the argument there?
I think so, and I think the reasoning with Jaleel is pretty good. I would also add, if you thought we were bad at covering running backs out of the backfield in the past, take a look at our new linebacking core. I think it's going to be a bit of a struggle. So this seems reasonable.
Could be week one. Maybe something to talk about there quickly, Brandon, is, Perna asked you when he was on the podcast recently about the exit of Bobby Wagner. And you were very, I would say, very fair about, look, coverage. He was a liability last year. So I think we got decidedly faster, but our defense got decidedly more complex. And it's 3 dudes who have never played a snap for the Seahawks in a real game. Does that concern you?
Oh yeah, I'm the linebackers. We talked about it on the show with Phil as we did our what if show. Yep. The two things that are most concerning are the linebackers and the offensive line. And with the linebackers, and we haven't even seen any Jerome Brown. So is Tyrese Knight going to be out there as a rookie? I like Dotson as a run stopper, but if he's having to tackle the running backs out on the edge, I'm not so sure, but that's one of the things, we're going to have to see in this game. Not really looking forward to that part, but I'm ready to see it. I hope that it's squared away and we realize that on Monday morning, hey, we didn't have anything to worry about. This team's fine. That'd
be very cool. Yeah, we have but that seem missing of not seeing a snap of Baker in the preseason. It is like, what's going to happen? We don't know. Right. So we don't know. So I do like that Wilson called that out there. All right. It is back to Wilson. 3rd down bet. What do you got, dude?
Well, I know we talked early about my inkling that the Broncos probably not going to turn the ball over much in this game, but I like to swing for the fences, as you know, on 3rd down. So Careful. I have this. It's a little spicy at 475. But I have Seahawks defense or special teams anytime touchdown. The reasoning is there's a rookie quarterback, there's a not very good offense, and we have some opportunistic corners. Woolen obviously has the speed to outrun anyone if he gets his hands on the ball. So I like the chance of this happening in this game, certainly more than, say, a matchup against a more experienced quarterback.
So, Brandon, a little pop quiz for you that ties to this. I don't expect Wilson to watch every show we put out. The young man's in college after all. He's got things to go do. But in the what if show, for my what if Superhawk, the wish part of our preview show, do you remember what I called for my wish, Brandon?
I do. I think it was a Julian Love touchdown.
A Julian Love touchdown. So, Wilson, we are cosmically aligned here, my man. The vibes are strong. The waves are coming together and creating a bigger wave. And I just see number 20, Julian Love, taking the thing back to the house after Bo Nix gets rushed. He sails one in stride, 32-yard return, game over, and I'm excited for that. Brandon, what you got?
Can I pick the scenario now?
Absolutely,
I'm going to say, and if our scenario hits, then we get Wilson's points.
Fair.
I'm going to say, because it's Luke Wattenberg at center for the Broncos, We see a similar situation as we did in the Eagles game, to where it's an errant snap that goes off the chest of Bo Nix. Byron Murphy is quickly in the backfield, able to pick it up and do the scoop and score.
I'm thinking, guys,
Wow.
maybe Broncos' first snap of the game, the snap goes over the quarterback's head, and instead of a safety, Julian Love lands on it in the end zone, and it's a touchdown.
All those scenarios sound delicious, and anytime we get to think about Omaha and that moment that set us off the right way is a good moment for me. All right, so Brandon, you are still up on your third down bet for Adam. What do you got?
All right, I am also going parlay for Adam in this scenario, and I'm going with Geno Smith, 225 on the passing yards, and Geno Smith 0 interception day. These two things. Now, I know you threw out the number 212 for Geno, but 225, I like that a lot. And Geno Smith taking care of the football. That's what we're used to with Geno.
It is what we're used to, but Wilson, do you expect in the Grubb offense that Geno's going to be taking more or less chances than last year?
Definitely more, but I do still like the interceptions number here. The question for me is the passing yards, sort of, Clinton, about how you were talking earlier. I think 225 is sort of right on that border where he could still have a really good, efficient game, but end up, like you were saying, 18 for 22, 215, something like that. I do like the interceptions number, and for the odds, it's not bad. Not bad value.
Yeah, not bad. I want a little more squeeze from it. And Adam had said on the picks show that you guys put out this week, Brandon, he was texting last night. He's like, boy, did I look like a dum-dum talking down Saquon, right? So what I hope is that Wilson and I are the dum-dums, and Geno is sitting at 307 yards and a bajillion touchdowns. That'd be super cool. And no interceptions. I'm fine if Adam cashes this one. Totally fine. All right, so those are our three bets: bet one, bet two, bet three at $10 a pop. And then remember, our Fail Mary is the $1, the Sunday Scratcher, the Sunday Rubber, which everybody calls it that. Totally cool. And must be over plus 1,200 odds or longer. We are back to the top, which means, Wilson, what is your Fail Mary for week one?
Well, guys, I'm starting off strong here. This might be the longest odds ever taken on this show, or quite close to it. I'm in keeping with my earlier thoughts about a potential pillow fight ensuing in this game. I've got one total touchdown for the game. Was it really only plus 1,700?
Oh, I think it was, but I mean, if it's more, then tell me. We could.
No, I totally misremembered. For some reason, I thought this was much higher, but it's definitely not the spiciest thing I've ever taken. Apologies for the confusion. This is quite tame by my standards, actually. But pillow fight could ensue, and 1,700. Not the value that apparently I remember that I thought I was getting, but
I was waiting for a plus 3,800 or something, and then I see
for some reason in my mind I had plus 8,000, but that would make absolutely no sense.
The funniest part is I created these slides last night because we put them in a sheet and we just don't look at what it is. But I put my bets in, then I get your bets and I put it together. And you had me fooled. I was like, what was this? Was this plus 3,000, plus 4,000? But still, plus 1,700. Hey, you took the under. So if this is, you one Geno touchdown and we win, I don't know, 5 Myers field goals and we win going away anyway.
No, Julian Love touchdown, I think.
Right. I'm sorry, guys. What am I doing? I'm embarrassed. I don't see it hitting, but then again, it's 1,700 to 1. Brandon, do you think this has a shot in heck?
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to see it, but and Sojin in the chat saying that's too low for just one TD. But this is the Fail Mary, and you want to go a little spicy. And then two, if this is what you end up with, like you kind of have a disappointing game, but then this hits and you're the winner of PNW Prop Stars for week one. Yeah, you're probably pretty happy about it.
I would think so. I think so. So, all right, it is a Fail Mary. It's a buck. Who cares, right? It's a little sidecar for the fun of it. All right. So, Brandon, that's you. That's Adams. What do you got for your Fail Mary? Where are you hucking it, man?
Flipping it over to the other side, we are going a blowout by the Seahawks, 14 or more point victory over the Broncos, and then throw in 100+ day for DK Metcalf, just torching their newly paid cornerback, Pat Surtain, or whoever they decide to put on DK. Maybe they decide to double DK, and he's beating the double teams and going for 100 plus for the plus 1,400.
Yeah, spicy in its own way. I love numerology in general. I find it fascinating. And DK wears 14. The Seahawks have to win by 14. And then all of a sudden you're cashing plus 1,400. Wilson, I know you think numerology really matters in life, just like I do. So what do you think of that, dude?
I think this is great. I love Seahawks numerology. It's kind of like our own little version of astrology.
Astrology,
like anytime,
I love it.
Clinton, I saw you 122 earlier. I saw the first two numbers 12. I was like, this is going to hit. I don't even need to hear anything about the bet. This is going to hit. And what you just said there is beautiful. I'm almost certain Adam has a way of cooking up some pretty solid Fail Marys. So I think this one has a pretty decent shot.
Love it. Yeah, I mean, DK plus, 100 plus, mainly against Surtain. We'll see. But hey, man, look, I don't know. I'm very, very bullish on this team in general. We'll see how it all cooks out tomorrow, right? This is great. We have football freaking tomorrow, which is nice. And by the way, before we get to my Fail Mary, fans since 76, I think they were talking about yours. Wilson said, this is the worst bet ever. Spicy like milk. Pretty sure they were talking about yours because I saw it come in then. Fans since 76, the OG, please let us know if it was about Wilson's or if it was about Adam's that was delivered by Brandon's, which takes it to me. My Fail Mary, gentlemen, is this. Look, we talk about K9. We're going to end with K9. There's a reason I made the thumbnail for this particular episode. Is K9 ready to explode? K9, 150 yards, kind of all purpose. Now that's not punt return, so it's not, so, don't throw a tomato at me. Rushing and receiving at 150. And Wilson, what kind of odds am I getting with that one?
It's a perfect 1,200. For some reason, I'm feeling like 12 has some kind of significance here, but I can't remember exactly why. What I will say is K9, like you were talking earlier, Grubb has certainly wants to up his usage, and what happens when you let a dog off the leash, anything can happen. And I don't mind this at plus 1,200. Fanson 76. Hey, I appreciate the criticism. You know a lot more about the Seahawks than me. You've been watching the Seahawks a lot longer than I've been alive, so I can take it.
There you go. Love it. And Sojin coming from way downtown off the top turnbuckle saying, add a K9. I'm assuming he means like add a K9 touchdown to this. That's actually a great idea. I'd love to see what happens then. Brandon, what would be like a smash bot day for K9 that hits 150? Where you placing like, holy crap, K9 was the star of the game. What's that look like for you?
Yeah, I mean, you're in the wheelhouse here, and it's not hard to imagine that if he is compiling 150 combined rushing and receiving, that he wouldn't have a touchdown. So it almost feels like a free little bonus on top because you're getting an additional plus to that situation. So yeah, I think I'm kind of with Sojin that if you're going to go this heavy with K9, hey, go a little heavier. Or if you want to back off and do 120 combined and a touchdown, that feels like you'd probably still be in that same type of wheelhouse. But with the plus 1,200, when you see that align, you got to take it, right?
You gotta take it. I agree. This is one of those bets where they didn't give you much of a. I couldn't compile it. It was one of those, hey, this thing exists. You can take it as is. And I was like, ooh, I will take that at plus 1,200. However, it probably was a parlay builder that I could have tacked on a touchdown, a little kicker on the side there. So I like that thought because you're 100% right and 0% wrong in honor of Adam, that if he does get those kind of numbers, the chances of him dancing in the end zone are really, really high at that point. So I do like that. So good thought by Sojin. So fellas, that's going to wrap up week 1. And we had a lot of people in here for a Saturday morning, which is amazing. Love the live commentary. Love doing this live. And so we made a couple of changes. Let us know what y'all thought in the flock there. If you think the live format's even a little better, I liked it because we get more interactivity. Brandon, how'd you feel about the live version? Filling in for Adam.
Always fun to kick things off on a Saturday. Just one sleep until game day, and I can't wait for some football. I'm in the same boat with Fanson 76. Haven't been this excited for a season in years. And saying love the show, guys.
Yeah, well, we love you too a lot. I always like to find out what people are doing for game day because last year Wilson was getting special donuts looks to be in the same exact dormitory that he was in last year. So I'm assuming you're close to those great donuts still. Wilson, besides getting yourself good and sober for tomorrow, what are you doing for the game day?
Yeah, I think step one is definitely going to be sobering up and yeah, just hanging out. No drinks for me. We're just gonna sit my ass down on the couch and consume some good Seahawks football for the first time in a long time. So looking forward to that.
Love it. And we love Smoke Hawk coming in with some great comments towards the end here. Smoke, awesome to have you in the Discord. I saw that you joined very recently and that you became a YouTube member on youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast. So good job leading the way there. For others that want to join, you could do that out on YouTube. That's a great place to do it. Brandon, where's the other ways that folks can become a member of the flock and join in on the good times?
You can go to getintheflock.com. That gets you into our Discord group if you join at $3 above. $3 and above. And of course, you can also, if you go to getintheflock.com, if you just want to be a free member, just to get the emails, so that way you can find out when the shows go live, because we are splitting shows across a couple different feeds. We've got the Seahawkers podcast audio feed, and then we've got the Hawkra audio feed. That's on the Believe Podcast Network, BLEAV. And those shows on audio are going through there. You get PNW Prop Stars, you get 3 in 3 out, you get the What If show with Phil, and some other miscellaneous shows too that we may put out through that feed. So yeah, you want to be subscribed everywhere, on video, on audio, and then yeah, you don't even have to pay to be at getintheflock.com. You can just go there and sign up.
There you go. So check out the latest video with Brandon Perna that Adam and Brandon did. That was amazing. Check out the preview show, Seahawkers What If, with Mr. Phil. Had a great theme, and we answered 6 very specific questions. Great way to get tooled up for it. And that's it, fellas. Tomorrow, I'm just soaking it all in. I've been so busy. I didn't get to watch Thursday Night Football. I did not get to watch Friday Night Football. I was traveling, work, all these different things. I watched like an ounce of football so far. So I am deprived. My glass is basically empty, and I'm going to fill it up 12 ounces or more, fuzzy, delicious, fizzy. And I'm going to have myself a little time tomorrow. I'm going to be hanging out in the Discord, and I'm going to be ready to cheer on our Seahawks as we just go pound the friggin' Denver Broncos, who deserve it for all those years of the mistreatment. Let's go Hawks.
And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Dang it.
Go Hawks. It's okay. We'll get it next week.